Hello, you beautiful Life Path 4 person. Welcome to your year ahead tarot with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. I just want to say a massive thank you so much to all of you who supported my work throughout 2022, who came back to these videos month after month to let me know how it was going for you, how this showed up for you, what the energies and trends and themes were that were showing up for you in regards to the video. It really does mean a lot to me that you did that. And so I just want to say from my heart to yours, thank you so much for being a part of Radiant Reality. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise. They help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. All right, so what does this year have in store for you? If you've been with me long enough, you know I always have my trusty notes handy because there's always so much information that I have to give you. All right, so this year, 2023, Life Path 4, what does it have in store for you? So this could be a very potent year for you. This could be a really powerful year, one that makes you feel a bit more sensitive than usual. That's going to be a theme for everybody in some way, shape or form, because 7 energy tends to do that, right? And the year itself is a 7 year. If you haven't seen the 2023 Numerology Universal 7-year video that I put out, there'll be a link in the description and there'll be one of those things that floats around above my head at some point. All right, so this might be in an emotional sense, but it might also be in an intuitive sense. Now, the thing about intuition and the Life Path 4 is a lot of the time when the intuitive stuff comes in for you guys, you tend to dismiss it as like, well, you know, that's just common sense, when really it actually isn't. It's your intuition. Like, this is one of the things, sometimes it's not just your amazing sense of detail. Sometimes it really is your intuitive faculty coming through, right? Don't dismiss it this year. Your intuitive powers and faculties are going to be heightened this year, so lean into them. If you have ever wanted to study any of the spiritual sciences, this is your year. Tarot, astrology, numerology. My tarot course will be coming out in March. You know, any of these kinds of things, this is a great year to start delving into them, because you're going to learn a lot about yourself and also a lot about other people and the way that the world is and the way that we interact with each other. Also, this might be a really good year for you to find a partner in terms of a romantic sense, but a great year to do things in pairs or with others. All right, so like all of the things above. Now, it's not to say that this can't be a good year for just love and relationships. It's just saying that's not going to be your main focus. You will, however, be doing more stuff, you know, rather than just on your own. You will be doing more with other people, which is actually a good thing this year. This is also a year for you to see everyone as equal and to listen to them the same. Support and help should be offered and accepted. Let people surprise you. So the reason I say this is Life Path 4 people tend to be the ones that uphold the values. They tend to be the team player. They tend to be very often they're the glue as well, like in a team that holds things together. And it's really easy for people like that to be overlooked, right? Unfortunately, that's just the world that we work in, that we live in nowadays. However, it will start to develop more, and I think this year people can really come through for you. So try to put your cynicism aside. Recognition might find you this year, but it's not something that you should be chasing. All right, so it might just so happen that you get accolades, that you get gifts, that you get a promotion, that you maybe find yourself going viral for something. Fame, fortune and all of those wonderful things can absolutely find you this year, but they should not be your main focus. You keep doing you keep doing the things the way that Life Path 4 does things, and that's likely to bring you good blessings this year. And then finally, I've got here, this is a year to really play by the rules, which, I mean, you guys, most of the time, you don't just play by the rules, you write them. So, but this year, you really have to. And maybe not even necessarily so much in a world, like real world sense, but certainly in a spiritual sense, about integrity and things of that kind of ilk. This year, you really have to stay in your integrity in that regard, okay? The different sectors of your life when it comes to money this year, your approach to money and finances should be that you're already in the driving seat, and by tapping into your creative and intuitive faculties to lean into or take certain opportunities maybe that show up for you. Money can find you easily this year when you network or connect with others alongside them. So this is not a year to go it alone. This is not a year to be, you know, I'm on my own, I'll just always plod along on my ones and that's kind of it. This is a year to reach out, to connect with others. And not just in a service capacity where you're the glue and the da-da-da-da. This is about letting people this is about letting people do that same or fulfill that same role for you in your life. If you're in love, if you're partnered, you could gain a much deeper bond with your partner this year as well. Providing you're really honest about what you need from your partner, they might go above and beyond to deliver to you. It might also be a time where the bond between you and your partner becomes so strong that it's like, you know, when you get that partner telepathy, or, you know, like you start to, you're like, yeah, they're having a bad day, what's going on with them? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, maybe that's just how intuitives live. But I know for every single partner I've ever dated, like literally sometimes they'll be like, do you just sit and spy on my day? And I'm like, I swear to you, I genuinely don't. You just know, right? You feel what you feel. And because this year you're more intuitive, you could be really responsive and really, what's the word? Attentive to your partner more so than usual, right? So because you're very detail orientated most of the time anyway, but this year that could be really heightened for you. If you're single, then mingle, get out there into the world, travel, meet people, go to invites. This is not a year to be stuck in the mud. I'm sorry, Life Path 4, you guys know I love you, but sometimes you can be a little bit boring, all right? And there's not like in a, oh, you're boring kind of way. It's more in a case of what's familiar, tried, tested, and true tends to be, you know, what you enjoy more. This year, you have to break out of that rut. Think of the people in the world as your family and your people, and the world itself as your hangout spot, all right? Warnings, integrity will matter a lot for this year, as will connecting with others. You might be a little bit more spontaneous, like this year might be a bit more spontaneous for you than you like your years. Unfortunately, this is pushing you out of your comfort zone, and I suggest you lean in, because if you resist that stuff and you say, well, you know, if I just don't go outside and I don't interact with anybody, then, you know, I'll be left alone, and then things at home start going haywire. It's because life is trying to initiate you and take you out into places, pastures and connections anew, and if you don't lean into that, it'll happen for you, right? So you've got two options here, jump or be pushed. Find ways to step outside of the known and embrace who or what is different. When it comes to work this year, your work will feel more important to you than ever. Whatever it is that you do, in some way, shape or form, you're going to feel this. It will be like an overriding thing where you're like, okay, this matters, and I'm not entirely sure why. Might also be what takes you outside of what you know or introduces you to new things. Maybe your boss sends you on different courses, or they start to expand, you know, the things that you offer to the world. All of that could be possible. This year will bring growth through hard work in the career sector, which you're obviously no stranger to at this point. But it's, you know, it's work about like not just being a team player, but it's also about really understanding how group dynamics are the things that drive things forward in those big ways. I think this is a year where you're becoming a lot more approachable, where you're getting more engaged with life, which is actually not a bad thing. And then finally, I've put this as a year to remove the practical mindset and open up to a potentially more mystical and connective experience. So that could be fun. All right, for your cards for the year ahead, let's see what's going on for you. So your first card out kind of typifies what the whole year is going to be like or about for you. You're going to get one destiny card, one direction card per month. And what you need to know is we're starting the year. Mars will be retrograde until January the 12th. It's been retrograde for some time at this point in the sign of Gemini, where it doesn't do great work. It struggles there somewhat. On top of that, we start the year also with a Mercury retrograde in the sign of Capricorn. So this is a slow start to the year. So if you're thinking, yeah, I'm going into next year, I'm going to fight with it, I'm going to explode into it, and da-da-da-da, and it doesn't quite pack that punch, don't panic, all right? Just sort of say to yourself, okay, it's a slow start to the year, no problem. That gives me time to formulate my plans for world domination. All right, so you've got the Death card as the January card, but more importantly, the card that typifies your entire year. What this actually says to me is, no, it's not going to be a year where loads of people are dying on you. There may be one or two, that is definitely a possibility. You know, death can't mean everything but death. But what this really says to me is, this is a year where who you thought you were is going to be laid to rest. This is where you're kind of saying, okay, you know what, I'm done with that experience of who I used to be. I'm done with that relationship, with that partnership. I'm done attracting certain types of people in relationships. Something about whoever you have been up until now, this comes to an end, as you know, over the course of this year. And as you're starting the year with the Death card, death is number 13. 1 and 3 gives you 4. That's your life path. So I find that really interesting. To clarify on this, you have the Page of Swords. All right, so for some of you, January, you might be expecting, this could be maybe a contract for some of you. You might be expecting some kind of paperwork. You might be expecting some kind of communication or connection. I got to be honest with you, I personally feel like it's not going to come. So this is like, it's something that maybe you've been waiting for, like, you know, I applied to this job, or you know, I reached out to this school or whatever. It's like whatever you have put out there, it's probably not happening in January. So if there's something that you're expecting as you start the year, just kind of know, you know what, that's probably not going to happen. The other thing with that Page of Swords as well, for a select few of you, this could be an argument or a dispute of some sort that comes to an end. Whether it's a satisfactory conclusion or not, I can't tell you, because there's nothing here that suggests, you know, which it is. But it does look like some issue, dispute, challenge, argument, etc. that you've had that's been ongoing at this point will come to an end here in January. So that could be really nice. Whatever you've got going on in November and December of 2022, you know, or maybe even longer, it will complete there in January of 2023. For February, you have the Moon card. So this is a lot of water energy as we start the year, right? There's already a lot of water in the place. There's already a lot going on in the mind and in the emotions. February could be a time where you are either re-examining the past or really starting to get very, you know, powerful dream symbolism. There could be a lot coming through while you're sleeping. Lots of that sort of nighttime downloading kind of energy. So pay attention to that. And this card, the Moon card, comes up with the King of Cups. A Pisces man, potentially, or a Scorpio man could be featuring for you in February. So the King of Cups is usually a water sign male, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. Coupled with the Moon card, which is ruled by Pisces, this could literally be a Pisces man features for you in some way, shape or form. Doesn't have to be a man, it just usually is. It could be, you know, somebody that presents with that king energy. I know so many women that do that. Like, in fact, you know, true story, the King of Pentacles often comes up for what I call boss ass chicks, you know, like women that they've got it together, you know. This King of Cups, especially with the Moon card, this may be somebody from your past. So if it's not a Pisces man, this might be literally someone from your past that you have an emotional connection or tie comes back into your life in February. And at this point, you're kind of like, okay, why are you back in my life? Like, why are you here? And it's probably so that you can assimilate the lesson that you've learned from this person, or not, as the case may be. This is also a time where your intuitive dreamscape inner world is really talking very deeply to you. Pay attention to it. Like I said, you're going to be more intuitive this year. Life is asking you to consider and open up to the fact that, I mean, if you're here having a numerology and tarot reading, you're already fairly open. But this might be life saying to you, you need to open up more to the mystical side of your existence. Your spiritual side is asking or seeking more expression. For March, so March is going to be a packed month. The months that you really need to be aware of: March, May and October. These three astrologically are big months. March, Saturn is moving into the sign of Pisces. March, Mars is moving out of the sign of Gemini and into the sign of Cancer. On top of that, Pluto is moving out of the sign of Capricorn and into the sign of Aquarius. It's just going to dip its toes. It'll only be there for a few months and then it will come back into Capricorn, and then eventually in 2024 it will go into Aquarius full time. What I will say to you is this though: March astrologically is a big time, but on the ground we're going to feel it. There's going to be so many big changes, so much dynamic movement, and it will feel great, but at the same time it will be like, okay, any minute now my head's going to stop spinning. If you want to know how this is going to speak specifically to your sun sign, your ascendant or your moon sign, you can get those your year ahead taroscopes. They're 90 minutes each, plus there's the eclipse overview. That's a video that I won't be sharing on any other platform. On top of that, you're getting your lunations, your tarot month by month breakdown, and as if all of that wasn't enough, you'll also be getting a 19+ page document on how the astrological transits, the big ones, are going to be affecting your sign. This is a big deal. So for all of that, for $4.99, or you can get the bundle for $24.99. So you can get that on the link in the description box below, or on one of those things floating above my head. All right. For March, you have the Sun card. All right, so all of these changes are clearly bringing in some wonderful stuff for you, which is awesome. You know, check out how it marries up with your sun sign, or your ascendant, or your moon sign. Now, the fact that you've got the Sun here, this suggests that a lot of the changes that are taking place really are in your favor. The fact that you've got this right next to the moon card. What happens in astrology when you bring the sun and the moon together? You get growth. This is where something is initiated, or a conception point, which means March really has the potential to amplify things for you in a very big way. This could be where you're traveling. For some of you, is very possible. I wouldn't be surprised if some of you are taking some time out, maybe taking a vacation. It would also be a time where not only are blessings showing up for you, but there's some sense of ease that's taking place. And on top of that, you've got the Ace of Cups. For those of you that are partnered, married, or in long-term commitments that are looking to conceive or to have children, March could be a phenomenal month for you. All right, like that is pregnancy energy, that is baby making energy, that is good news coming in, that is travel to a place that your heart genuinely feels happy or loves to be. This is also, as well, for a lot of you, it's going to see you having a peak experience. March is going to be a fantastic month for you. If you're a life path 4, March is one of those months that you want to have in your calendar, because it's going to work wonders in your life. And I got a funny feeling that this is going to be a lot more about who you know and who you're connected to at this moment in time. As you come into April, April is a big deal as well. We've got the first solar eclipse in the sign of Aries, which is a North Node eclipse. This one is really important to pay attention to, and the reason being, it's the first one that's kicking off a cycle of eclipses in the Aries and Libra bracket. Again, if you want to know how that's affecting you in your sign, you know what to do. But here, what I will say to you is, even if you don't tune into any of those, the information that I have to give you, what happens here in April is going to give you a glimpse or a heads up of what's happening over the course of the rest of this year and into 2024, when the nodes will be fully in those signs. All right, so big deal for April. For this, you have the Strength card. So your physical body is going to, your physical body, your health, your vitality are all going to be things that you're really paying a lot of attention to here in April. This also suggests as well that you are finding, like, whatever lessons, challenges or issues are coming up for you in April, they're going to impress upon you something that you learn for life. As an example, you know, like when you hear business owners, like there's, you know, like the super successful millionaires and stuff, and they say, you know, if I was broke tomorrow, yes, I'd be gutted because I've lost all my money, but what you can't take away from me is the knowledge that I've gained over that time. all the things that you've learned, right? So March is going to be a peak experience for your physical health and vitality, but more importantly for the knowledge and the wisdom that you've gained on your path. Something that you have had the ability to really stick to see it through, no matter how hard it's been. That's a life path 4 trait. Here in April, this is likely to be where you see some of the results of that. With this, you've got the 8 of Swords, right? So interesting, because I said to you about learning, right? Where you're learning something. The Strength card is number 8. The 8 of Swords is obviously the number 8. 2 8s represents new knowledge, new information. So it's like whatever knowledge and wisdom you've gained up until this point, it might be that you become aware of it. So you're looking back and it's like, wow, you know what? I didn't realize how much I'd actually learned on this journey. Or, wow, you know what? I didn't even realize that I had, accumulated this many hours of practice time in blah, blah, blah. So really interesting. The other thing as well, because the 8 of Swords is things that are constricting or confining. And so I'm not a doctor, I can't give you medical advice, but what I will say for that combination, sometimes it can be a chronic health issue. And so this is something that you need to be really on top of over the course of April. Check in with a doctor, with a medical professional. Even if it's just a little niggle that you have for like a few days and you think, oh, you know what, that's just not going away. Go and get it seen to. When it comes to May, big month, Jupiter moving into the sign of Taurus. It's going to be there for the whole 12 months, right into 2024. Whereas like for the last few years, Jupiter has kind of crossed signs back and forth. It's not doing that this year. Like once it goes into Taurus in 2023, it'll be there right the way until it finishes its transit of Taurus, even when it goes retrograde. If you want to know how that affects you and your sign, on top of this, you've got a Scorpio full moon lunar eclipse in the same month. And as if that wasn't enough, we've also got the Mercury retrograde in the sign of Taurus. So this is going to be a big month, packed months, March, May, October. For this, you've got the Temperance card, right? So I think so far, out of all the readings that I've done, apart from, I think, the life path ones, you are going to figure out how to use May's energy really, really well. It's like you're able to kind of see, okay, well, this is the state of things. This is how the world is going. These are the trends and themes. What can I do with this? How can I make this better? And it's like you're pulling it in, all right? So that actually, this could be really great for you. It might also be a time where you're checking in with potentially a healthcare professional. What I find interesting about that is you've got this potential health stuff here in April, and then in May, you've got the 7 of Wands with the Temperance card. That is possibly and potentially an immune system problem or issue. Again, I'm not a doctor. I can't give you medical advice. I can tell you what and who shows up in my cards. What I will also say to you is you're figuring out how to use this energy and you're fighting for something. May is going to see you, whether this is in your career, whether it's in your relationship, whether it's in your familial ties, there's something that you are holding to. You're fighting for something and it's like you're not backing down. It's like, I won't allow my opinion to be stifled. I won't be told no. I won't be told to back down. It's like whatever comes up at this time in May, you're fighting against it. You're rallying against it. And it's like, you're going to win. Like, I'm going to tell you straight up, like you will win. With this combination of cards, it's like you know that you're right. And because of that, it's like you are willing to fight for it. Yes. June, you have the Tower card, right? So it could be a fight. Now, if you've seen them already, you know this. If you haven't, I mentioned this in the year ahead videos. May through August is the challenging time of 2023. I think that's where we're likely to see the most fireworks. Now, for you personally, you've got the Tower. You've got this with the Knight of Pentacles. If you are traveling in June, this would be a really good time, like especially if you're traveling by car, public transport or trains, etc. That is potentially a problem or an issue with either the vehicle that you're traveling on or the system that you're traveling with. So I wouldn't be surprised if, like, wherever you are in the world, maybe you're seeing some kind of issue with strikes. Maybe you're seeing some kind of a blackout, and so therefore, you know, especially if it's trains, because trains run on electric, this could be something of that nature. It's really weird because a similar message came up for one of the other life paths, and what I said to them was, if you're in another country and you're enjoying or partaking of adult pleasures, be mindful of what the laws are. Whereas for you guys, I kind of feel like it's the place that you're in, there's a problem with the transport in that place. So wherever you're traveling to in the month of June, be sure to have alternative travel arrangements, all right? It's really funny because one thing that I'm reminded of now as well, the year, so when I think it was 2013, I went to Morocco and we did a Desert Majesty trip. It was just absolutely out of this world, and I tell you, I'll never forget it as long as I live. But the week before we had gone there, 2 people had taken, you know, like the quad bikes, and like usually you're supposed to take a tour guide so that you don't get lost, These 2 guys were adamant, we don't need one, we know what we're doing, and they got lost and they died of thirst, basically, like, because obviously they were stranded in the middle of the desert, the petrol had run out, I don't know whether they told us that to scare us, but it kind of feels like this may be an issue. And it's, you know, it's one of those things with the tower, it's a fluke. You can't really predict it. You can just see what's happening around it and say, okay, how do I make adjustments for that? For July, you have the Emperor. All right, so July, your boss, your partner, your husband, you're the most masculine one in the relationship, if you're in a partnership already, will feature for you. This may also be a time where you're getting very serious about your knowledge base or lack of. You've got this with the Empress. That is a partnership, a connection, a collaboration that really does work wonders in your life. Remember, when we get masculine and feminine energy come together like this, sorry, I'm trying to move some of the light so that you can actually see some of the cards. It's so bright. Now, the other thing with this as well, because the Empress is like your environment, and the Emperor is kind of like the establishment or the institution, right? And so there's obviously something around the place that you live, the place that you work, the place that you study, maybe all of the above, that is very prominent here for you. One way that this could show up, especially because it's masculine feminine energy, which is again conception point, sun and the moon here in March and February, but both of them here in July. This is a point at which you're initiating something brand new. And it's like, in order to do this, you're having to really, you know, to show up. You're fighting for something here in May. June, there's a few unexpected things, but July, it's like, this is where whatever you've been fighting for, July is when it comes real. This is where it becomes tangible. This is where you see the results from it. August, you have the High Priestess. The High Priestess has been quite active for August, and so I wonder what this will be, but it will be an interesting one for sure. Remember, hidden things revealed. This is where your own intuition is going to be speaking volumes. This is a time where you're very intuitive, very psychic. Trust those hunches. I don't care if you're a life path 4. Find a way to listen to your intuition and to give it credence at this time. You've got this with the 9 of Cups. That's beautiful. That's like true spiritual healing. That is, I mean, as well, July. So you could be traveling in June for sure. You could also be traveling in July, and this could be to a place of profound beauty, but you're traveling there for knowledge purposes. It's not for a holiday. It's not for just like, oh, you know, I just want to learn, you know, want to do this. It's like you're going to learn something or to experience something specific. August, that is spiritual healing. The 9 of Cups with the High Priestess, like, that is true spiritual healing. That is honest to genuine, like, I love it. It's just, yeah, I'm so here for it. The other thing with the 9 of Cups as well, remember, this is where you're getting some wish fulfilled. And because it comes up here with the High Priestess, I know, like, this is something that happened. It's a question that was posed to me when I was very young, actually. I think I was only about 13 or 14. And the question was, If you could have what you wanted most in the world, but you weren't allowed to share it with anyone, would you still want it? And I said no, because I was like, well, if you can't share it with anyone, what's the point in having it? It's not about, oh, look at me, I've got this thing, but it was just like, it just didn't make any sense to me, right? And so August could be a time where there is a big wish fulfilled, but it's like you're not talking about it or you can't. I don't know if this is because, you know, like in pregnancy, they say unless it's like past your first trimester, you shouldn't tell anybody for a million reasons. If you're spiritual in any way, shape or form, then you know why. Right? Outside of that, August, it looks like you're getting something big or something that you've hoped for or wished for, but it's happening very much behind the scenes or behind closed doors. September, we have a Mercury retrograde in the sign of Virgo, and for this you have the Hermit card. So you've got the Virgo card in the Virgo season. Interesting. Now, this I actually think is probably where you're laying to rest some old idea or old ideology. This could be a time where actually people are looking at you and they're like, wow, I don't even recognize you anymore. Like once upon a time, this would have really upset you or affected you. And it's like, there's something in September where you're like, you know what, I can step away from this and put my heart to the side. It's not affecting me in that way. You've got this with the Ace of Swords. This is likely to have something to do with your career or your profession. This could be where you are transitioning out of one job and into another. But the funny thing is, it's like you're leaving with your seniority. So for some of you, maybe you're taking a sabbatical rather than you're actually leaving the job. For others, this could literally be where you are stepping into a leadership position, but it's almost like sour taste. Do you know what I mean? It's like I had to work harder than everyone else to get it. I had to kick up a whole load of fuss and stink. And it's like, now that I've got it, I'm not even sure if it's what I want. It'll be an interesting one for sure. I will also say that this is a time where you are being leaned on for your knowledge, expertise, and your, your information possibly. For October, packed month, you've got 2 eclipses, one in Libra, one in Taurus, and that Taurus one is going to close out the cycle for good, well and truly done and dusted. So for October, you've got the Magician card, right? Nice. So it looks like you're putting these eclipses to best use, and whatever you're stepping out of in September, you're stepping into something else in stellar fashion. That Magician card is very powerful. This could also see you gaining some sort of recognition or accolade, and possibly not by accident, but just like you're not even trying to do it, it just happens naturally. You've got this with the 6 of Cups. That's a reuniting of you and maybe a friend, maybe an old boss, maybe somebody that was once a cheerleader or a supporter for you. This could be, I don't know, like let's say you worked at a job and your old area manager is like, you know what, absolutely love you, always knew you would do well, and you end up reconnecting with them. I wouldn't be surprised if some of you are walking out of one job and walking into another, but you're walking into maybe a place that you've worked before but at a higher level. Do you know what I mean? It's like you've had to go for a long way to come back for a shortcut. Yeah, lots of really good memories as well. And for October, don't be surprised if you find yourself dusting off old dreams or old desires. For November, you have the Star card. Nice. All right, and you've got, so November's very much a time where you're getting a really deep understanding of what the next phase of your life looks like. This is where things are really starting to shift and change for you, and also the right people, the right connections, especially through this person. So whoever you're reuniting with in October, it's like they're connecting you to networks of people, to people that are bigger and broader and better than anything that you could have done on your own. And you've got this with the Knight of Cups. So if you are single, November could be a time where you're meeting someone as well. Very nice. If you're partnered already, this could be you and your partner doing some kind of travel, but together. On a more sort of, I guess, professional or academic level, this is you gaining some sort of either insight or an opportunity through a big, a big wig or a big fish of some kind. It's like whatever you're being offered it's a big part of your future. November is a time to really pay attention to the things that are being offered to you, because some of them on the surface might seem sort of like, oh yeah, you know, that could be cool, but it's like, and you're not really invested. You're not saying no, but you're also not jumping at it because you don't realize what a big opportunity it really is. For December, as you finish this year, you have the Chariot card, so you're definitely on your travels. November through December, you're going somewhere, and that looks really nice. And you've got this with the Magician card. All right, so whoever the Magician represents for you, they are going to be certainly a part of your October way through December. Now, what's really interesting here is October, November, and December is where you're going to start to feel your next personal year energies start to come through. And you know, what kicks this off is the Magician. And you've got the Magician card here with the Chariot. So this is not only accolades and recognition, it's you interacting with peers that are at a specific or a certain level. And this person, who is not somebody new to you, but somebody that's already known to you, is a part of your future from here on in. Whew, big stuff. All right, 4. Ooh, okay, I'm gonna throw them all over the place. 4, dun, 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 dun. Your key to the year, you have the Gate 54 and Ambition. This card is actually about money. Yes, it's about ambition. Yes, it's about getting ahead, but it's also about finances, money and resources, and going after the things that you feel like are actually going to be fulfilling to you. This could be a great year for resources. It can be a wonderful time for career advancement, but what it's going to require is the sacrifice of who you are. All right, not you yourself, like you're not keeling over. There's not even, I mean, there's only one potential place that death could come in here, and that is, where was it? I thought there was, yeah, I mean June possibly, but it's kind of like it's removed, you know, it's like somebody that you know in your circle, it's not anyone immediate. But like, in order for you to reach this new height of who you're going to be, to have all of these new wishes fulfilled, to make this extra money and get out there, you are going to have to broaden your horizons to get out of your comfort zone. You're going to have to go to places. You're going to have to take invites. You're going to have to meet new people. You're going to have to check out new places. If you want that new life, you're going to have to do new things, and you have to consider the bubble is not where the growth is going to happen this year. With that said, your challenge months, okay, so look, January could be a challenge month for sure. February could definitely be a challenge month. I think May is going to be a challenge month for you. Not May, June even. May could be a little bit challenging because it requires new skills or new approaches to things. April is potentially a challenge month because of the health stuff. June is obviously a challenge month for you, and then potentially September. But outside of that, your power months, March is absolutely stellar. I mean, just really beautiful. August is fantastic. October, November, December, all amazing months. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. I truly hope that these support you and serve you well over the course of 2023. I just want to say again, a massive thank you so much from my heart to yours. Take care, have an amazing year, and I'll see you soon.